And then we come to Nigeria. Yesterday, we did talk about that President Bola Tinubu may have directed that revenue from crude sale be transferred directly to Central Bank of Nigeria instead of it being kept at the NNPCL. Well, we got a reaction this time yesterday when we were talking about this. We had no confirmation or refute on that story. Now, the Chief Corporate Communications Officer of NNPCL, Mr. Olufemi Shuneye, said that, and I quote him in the message that he shared, "At this time, I am not aware of any of such directive. Should there be any updates or further information on this matter, I will promptly notify you." That's the Chief Corporate Communication Officer of the NNPCL saying that. And I have to say that there's already been a lot of reactions to this seemingly directive, which the NNPCL said they've not gotten this morning. If you watch our sister program, Sunrise Daily, mails there show that people are happy if that directive is true, because they believe it will bring more transparency in managing crude revenue in the country, which of course has been in the news for a bit now. Now to Forex. The value of Naira has been in the news consecutively every day, hitting new lows yesterday. We saw a change, and it seems there's been amendments to the methodologies applied for the computation of the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Fixing, that's NAFEX, and the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, that's NAFEM, spot closing rates are referred to as FX rates pricing methodologies. The previous, this change aims to address recent fluctuations and challenges encountered in the Nigerian foreign exchange. The revisions are focused on enhancing the accuracy and reliability of both NAFEX and NAFEM rates determination process, with a focus on data availability and integrity, involving a rigorous data validation process, including tolerance checks, which shall be applied by FMDQ exchange and subject to internal policies and procedures. These measures aim to ensure that NAFEX and NAFEM rates accurately reflect market condition while upholding price formation and transparency. And that's why we've seen at the close of trade yesterday, there was a smaller gap between the parallel market and the official market. In fact, we had the official market with a lower rate for the Naira. Now, also yesterday, we had that news from the Central Bank of Nigeria, where it announced the settlement of all verified Forex claims by foreign airlines. We need to take note of that, all verified foreign Forex claims by foreign airlines operating in the country, with additional payment of $64.44 million. That's what they paid yesterday, bringing total disbursement to foreign airlines to $136.73 million. That's from the central bank. Well, this development, according to the central bank, underlines the bank's commitment to resolving outstanding FX obligations across all sectors. Meanwhile, there's been reaction to that. The statement by the International Air Transport Association, IATA, says that it welcomes the central bank's announcement and stresses that while the release of an additional $64.44 million is encouraging, it's still a long way to addressing the full issue, as about $700 million is still blocked in the country's commercial banks. Well, let's delve into this now. Of course, we've got, as expected, a lot of reactions to this. Let's get the reality straight from someone who is directly involved with that, the president of National Association of Nigerian Travel Agencies, that's NANTA. We had Mrs. Susan Akporeye joins us virtually from Abuja. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Compliments of the season. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Wish you the same. So, I mean, is this a disparity, or is it just because I noticed that the central bank did put that phrase, verified claims, you know, when they were giving out this, and they said they have taken care of all verified claims. And now IATA is saying, well, it's still remaining about $700 million. Does that mean this $700 million is not part of the verified claims, or is there a miscalculation somewhere? I know you've been meeting with IATA a lot.
Yes, it's actually two different things, and CBN is correct. And this claims, I'll dive into a little about the history briefly. Before this new government took over, we've had this issue of block funds. It was 814 million at some time, and they released 250 thereabout. It brought it down and on and on and on. And this administration inherited some amount, and they have been paying. Now, when this administration came in, they made it clear to the airline there's a shortage of this Forex challenge. Hence the reason why there was dragging of matured bids. Like you said, verified claims. Most of those money has matured. They have won the bid. The maturity date has elapsed like over a year. But because there was no funds to pay them. So there was an agreement. The government through CBN told them, look, there's a situation here. We don't have enough Forex. So from when the new administration came in, the airlines were told to source for their funds, that they will not be held liable for giving them money as they used to do. So they should source for their funds ongoing at the IATA window. So they will not expect CBN to give them any money anymore. But they are committed to making sure the outstanding from the previous government is totally cleared. And that is what they have done. I know this outstanding, they has to go through some verification. So I want to believe there were some of them that didn't pass through verification. So that was now set aside, in which the parties involved will have to go to CBN and find out clearing that. That's why I said verified claims has been paid. It is the backlog which this administration committed to the airlines that they were going to pay. And the administration made it clear that they cannot continue with this method and told the airlines to source for their fundings in the open market, the IATA window. So from all the ticket sales from that period in the IATA window is the 700 million that IATA was talking about. So both of them, in a way, they're right. CBN is right. They have cleared the part they promised they were going to clear. Now, there's a situation with the IATA window. The airlines are not getting. That's why, if you notice, IATA said commercial banks. They were no longer saying the government this time around, because the government is not the one in charge of that. It has been made an open market. Hence the reason why we experience the rate of exchange that we use to sell tickets increasing. Today is 1,515. So it's even higher than black markets. So that is the 700 million that IATA is talking about with the commercial banks. Now, we have been engaging IATA and CBN together as a team because we promise we'll work together. We're not here to fight each other, but to support each other so that it's a win-win for everybody. If the airlines are happy, with the travel agency will be happy. So that's the next phase. If you read the IATA publication, it was soliciting and appealing to CBN that this other 700 that is in commercial banks, that they will need the help and assistance of CBN so that the commercial banks can release these funds for them. They can allow them buy these funds and being given to them. So both of them are correct. Government is correct. No more liability on the head of the government. IATA is also correct. They still have like 700 million, but no longer in the hands of it's no longer the government's responsibility. It's under the IATA window, which is handled by the commercial banks. Hence the reason why that statement was made by commercial banks. But we still need the assistance of CBN to get to be able to allow the commercial banks to release these funds for the airlines when they come to purchase them.
So, I think it even sounds more scary now because commercial banks, they have a regulator. But if the CBN now says, well, we've done our part, airlines, you have to deal with commercial banks, you're on your own. I guess at the end of the day, it is still the consumers and, associations such as yours that will suffer.
Yes. The CBN deals with commercial banks. When they have allocation, they give to them. So the airlines, not only airlines, even other sectors, all supposed to go to this IATA window where the trade is happening and source it directly by themselves. But of course, the commercial banks also get allocation from CBN, definitely. The allocations from CBN has not stopped. And we all know the IATA window says it's a market for the willing seller and the willing buyer. So it's a problem of having somebody that is willing to sell. And these sales are being done through the commercial banks. And having somebody that is, the airlines are willing to buy. The issue they're having is there's no willing seller. Hence the reason why the thing has accumulated again to 700. But the airlines cannot categorically say this is a CBN problem, the CBN that is holding on to the money. The money that was responsible by the government, that has been cleared. Now, IIA window is willing seller, willing buyer. So there's a problem of not having willing seller because the amount the willing seller wants to buy is not the amount that the willing buyer is ready to buy, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So there's a stalemate in that market too as well. So the IIA window was supposed to help the situation, actually. But unfortunately, the human factor, like I said, I mean, we Nigerians cannot exonerate ourselves from the situation we have found ourselves. We cannot just all blame the government alone. We all have our part to play. So the IIA window initially was a fantastic idea. And if it was working well, willing seller, willing buyer, that accumulation of 700 wouldn't have happened. When the IIA window started, it worked very well for 3 months. It actually worked very well until the thing stalled. Because now, it stalled because the CBN now came and pegged the IIA window on a particular amount. That was when, all of a sudden, there was no willing seller anymore because they wanted to sell above the peg that CBN made for more profits. So immediately that peg was there, they all withdrew from selling. And we all know that is the law of the IIA, willing seller, willing buyer. So now we now started facing another crisis. There were people that were not willing to come to sell their dollars, so the airlines couldn't buy. So that's why that is there. And that is why the second stage of our intervention now, that is why IATA started by thanking the CBN. We were in a conference call with the CBN just last year, and they promised that we were going to make payments, and they did. So the next phase of interaction with the CBN is how do we make sure the IIA window that has still made works again? What are the things that CBN can do? What policies can they bring in place to make sure the IIA window works freely? Because if IIA window is working freely, the airlines should be able to source for their funds and buy because they are willing to buy, but they are no willing seller. So that's the next phase of interaction with CBN, NANTA, IATA, and CBN. For them to come in and assist, how do we do this? There's a problem. This IIA window is not working. It is not working. It's known. So what else do we do to make sure this works and we can source for our money?
Yeah, I guess you already said it. If it's a willing buyer, willing seller market, then maybe the federal government have to remove that peg, you know, to allow.
Exactly.
And then eventually we hope that the demand and supply will, you know, bring a fair price, you know, for both transactions.
Exactly. So that's actually what we're trying to tell the government now.
All right. So just before we let you go,
if they remove that peg, so you have more willing sellers.
Exactly. Okay, so there was a part of the interaction that you had with IATA and CBN. One of the outcomes I see that you asked for lower inventories latest by Friday, the 2nd of February. Could you fill us in on this?
Okay. We've had several meetings with the airlines. We understand their plight. And we too also are also going through a lot in this situation.
Wow, we do have a network glitch right there. It would be nice to know what NANTA is doing, asking for lower inventories, and the deadline they gave is just in the next 2 days, Friday.
Restrictions. You see, you for example, want to.
Yes, I'm with you, Susan.
Okay. So we are saying that since at least we have gotten to some point, the government have been kind enough to do one part of their obligation. What we are saying that the airlines should at least show some, let them give us something back. Because we threw down our sword. We were actually ready to go all out. And we were approached by IATA and said, you know what, let's not fight. Let's work together to get a success. And we agreed. So now we felt at this point, tickets selling at 1,535 naira per dollar. Why would you not release inventory? That's what we are saying. So now they don't have any reason to withhold the lower inventories anymore and sell only the highest one. So we are saying we are not there yet. You have not gotten all you want yet. But there's a step in a good direction. Let them show us some goodwill. We have been patient with them. We have supported them. We have refused to come to the media to fight the airline in any way, as against what my members wanted us to do. We actually work to get partnered, and we have come to this stage. And we are saying, let them show us some goodwill and release inventory. Because let them release the lower ones. After all, even if they release the lower ones, first will not be as cheap as it used to be. At 1,531 naira per dollar, it's not going to be cheap. But then again, it will be better than having only the highest fares. So we're saying, we've helped you to this extent. Give us something back. That's what we're saying. Because their flights are full, but it's not being sold by us. Nigerians, somebody that wants to go to London, Lagos, from here, because of the fact that there are no lower inventory, it's very expensive. He calls an agent in Ghana and he issues the lower ones for them. The person did the business in Ghana, but the person is traveling from Lagos. So we have a lot of such transactions like that. That's why the aircraft of the airlines are full, but we are not selling. Our business is dying, we're suffering, and we're telling them, you know what, we've understood with you, also understand with us, and show us some good faith, and release the inventory, so that we can continue to support you. That's just what that is all about, yes.
All right, and it's just on Friday, so we do hope more conversations, fruitful conversations will take place, and we'll have those. I mean, it's also good for the consumers. It's a lot of stress.
We're actually fighting for the consumers and ourselves too as well.
Exactly.
People cry when they have to buy tickets to travel.
Yes, they're so expensive these days.
Yes, it's so expensive, yes.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much, and we wish you the best in your continuous conversation with both IATA, now the commercial banks, and the airlines. Thank you so much, President, National Association of Nigerian Travel Agencies, Mrs. Susan Akoreye. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.